Welcome back, everybody, to the weekend show. I'll be breaking down the stock market. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you guys are new here, definitely consider subscribing. And now, let's get right into the market. All right, so welcome back once again, guys. And you can see the oil reserve nears a level that raises concern about the damage to just the economy. How low we are running on oil reserve, and looks like that's not really doing anything when you look at the market. Let's just have a look at the market, see what market did on Friday and the entire week. We actually had a breakout, brand new all-time high. S&P was slightly down on Friday, nothing big, pretty flat. Nasdaq was down 0.28%, Dow was down 0.20%, and Russell went up just over half a percent, advancing 49.7, declining 44.9. Now, 11 sectors that makes up S&P 500 led the way on top once again on Friday: energy, basic materials, utilities, industrials, real estate. So you can see energy leading the way. That's not good news for S&P 500. And for the entire week, yes, tech was there, but energy was up 5.56%. Technology was up there too. Industrials, financial, consumer defensive. And a lot of the sectors are actually pretty much unchanged or slightly red when you look at consumer cyclical and basic materials and even communication services. Stock market map, what do we have here? If you look at the stock market map, not much really going on here. Broadcom was down pretty big on Friday. AMU, AMD, again, the memory names, those are popping. And if you guys saw that video I made just about a week ago, before the breakout on some of these names like SNDK and AMU, these things are just exploding right now. Nvidia flat, Microsoft flat, Apple flat, Google flat, Meta down slightly, Amazon down almost 1%. Tesla was up, then gave back all those gains. And if you look at right here, SNDK, STX, WDC, and then AMU, TX, and AMD was up pretty big on Friday. So a lot of these names, memory names, and then we have names from energy sector like XOM and Chevron, and some of the other names. They were up also on Friday. Fear and greed index 65, back on greed. I think there is still room where market can go higher, and this can reach into extreme greed, but let's just see what happens next week. Bear bull sentiment here, you can see bullishness 34.7, bearishness 37.9, 27.4 are neutral here on this market. And with all that stuff going on, I mean, like a lot of people think that market last week, we saw a slow grind up, and then that breakout happened on Thursday, and some continuation even on Friday, and then we gave back some of those gains. So let's get focused for next week and see where the market is heading. On SPY ETF, it was slightly down, but if you look at it, guys, I mean, Thursday we made a brand new all-time high, just some consolidation on Friday, and we had this bull flag at all-time high. We broke out of the flag, and now we are trading over. If you look at my screen, definitely over that high from this flag right here. So next week, is there a chance where market can pull back? Absolutely. Is it going to pull back? Nobody knows. If it pulls back, how much? I don't think we're going to go down and fill the gap anytime soon unless something catastrophic happens this week where market goes down big time, but that is not the case. We were all expecting a pullback, but it just turned into just buying time here, consolidating, and then the breakout came after what, almost a week consolidating inside this flag, and the market pressed higher. So now one thing I want to point out, look at this upper Bollinger Band, guys, straight up, right? 788.61. So if S&P wants to move higher, it can definitely. Weekly expected move, it's about $10 plus or minus to the upside or downside. So we'll see how that plays. But this is going to be the key zone to watch. There's, it's really simple to read S&P 500 right now. That's 775-ish right here, previous high, now acting as a support. And just underneath that, we have 5-day moving average pretty much exactly at 774. So underneath that, we also have 773. That was a level before right here. So these levels are going to be key. As long as we're trading over that, extremely bullish, and we can press higher, possibly getting over 779.37. That should take S&P up to easily 780 to 785, and who knows, maybe even 790, right? To the downside, if these level breaks, and especially somehow we get a gap down, opens below the 5-day moving average, I would expect come down and retest this 770 and then 767 where we held before, and then only then we can talk about retesting coming down to 760 and maybe even into the gap. But before that, guys, I mean, I just don't see that happening unless we have some news. And so far, the war news, if you guys are just, looking at the news, I don't think the market cares about the war news anymore. Even with rising oil and energy, S&P is still pressing higher, right? Some cases. So next week it's going to be crucial. There is no big data, no big earnings coming out, and I think this is going to be the week of the test where S&P can actually hold at all-time high and possibly press higher, or we see some sort of a significant breakdown where we come back. I mean, I know a lot of people still waiting for that perfect, pullback into previous all-time highs, and so they can buy the dip because they did not participate in this rally, and I think that can come, but it's just too easy, for that to happen. And that's why you saw that pop back up to the upside after consolidating few days. So I think we all have to just acknowledge and wait and see what the market does. Don't make any decision, don't make any judgments before a market breaks down, or even if it's going up, you don't have to chase this. You have to just let this rally sink in and wait for that next opportunity whenever that comes in. You just don't have to just get involved, especially at all-time highs. So that would be something that I'm looking at next week. Don't want to chase anything, but pullbacks are welcome if we come back down. But what are the chances that we get there, right? The only thing I can say, and I said it in my video last week as well, that VIX is we haven't seen VIX down to 14 in the last couple of months, and now it's there. So, is there something? Is there a pop that we're going to see on VIX? Possible. I think we all just have to wait and see next week. On triple Q, it's slightly down, nothing big, pretty flat for the day. But if you look at it intraday, we actually went higher on Friday, 734.39, and then we gave back those gains, came down to 728.32, and then still it wasn't actually going down, any further, and just held on to that, key support zone. If you look at my screen, this is where the previous high was from this candle, and we just held over that zone, which was 728.84, and now it's trading at 731. So the next week, this is the only one that actually did not make all-time highs, and this could be some sort of a catch-up trade here if things are still gonna go up even more, which could be a possibility with a lot of these memory chips name going up, right? AMD was up, MU, SNDK, STX, some of these names. So here on Qs, 732 breaks and holds, I think we're going to see easily a move up to 745 and then possibly into previous all-time highs, maybe even a brand new all-time high. Totally possible. To the downside, 732 gives up. Watch out for that 728 right here, and then down below 724.32. This is going to be a key support zone because of this moving average, which will move up, come next week. Underneath that, I think we see a flush all the way down to 714, which we did once before, twice actually, almost down there, but the support was holding because we have the 50-day moving average also sitting just underneath that. All right, so just a quick reminder, guys. If you guys are really serious about trading, you're really into trading, and you want to get all types of trade ideas, and there are a lot of them, definitely give this a chance. Head over to Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. And if you go for annual membership, you do save some money. But again, you have to be serious. If you're not serious, this is just going to be total waste of your time and mind. So if you're really into trading, then check it out. On DIA, it's down 0.21%, so pretty flat. We had this flag right here, and then we had that massive pop back up to the upside, brand new all-time high, and now we're pulling in and just contracting inside this mini flag. And you can see the candles are getting smaller and smaller. The volume is drying up. We have a gap below. We have also possibility of a breakout to the upside. So if this thing breaks and holds, I would say 538 game on for a move all the way back up to 544 and possibly win into blue skies. Once again, you can see the Bollinger Band expanded all the way up to 548.35. If this thing comes down and does not especially hold at 536, which was holding for past couple of days right here, guys, 536, watch out for a quick trip down to the gap, 531.65, fill the gap, possibly retest previous all-time highs, and then just look below and fill, right? We see a little bit of push to the downside and this thing bounces back up. That could be a possibility, but I think that at some point, and if it does, that's going to be an opportunity to see if we can actually hold that previous all-time high, or if this thing comes down even more and fills this gap at 525.61. On IWM, it's up 0.5% on Friday and another new all-time high. If you look at my screen, I mean, we hit all-time high on Thursday and Friday and pretty much closing at a brand new all-time high. We had this flag, we had the breakout, and now this thing is just going absolutely insane. So if we come back in, watch, I mean, you can see even on Friday, it was holding right here, right about 302.8. That's going to be a key support zone. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move this up because I don't think we're going to come down here anytime soon. So right about there, right around 303, this previous high now will act as a support. So if this thing can hold over, 302.83 to be exact, watch for continuation easily up to 310. The Bollinger Band already expanding, and this is not something where I would say this is extremely overbought or anything. If we come back in and we break below right here, 302.83, in that case, watch for some downside move, maybe down to flat 300. Underneath that, watch out for the gap right here, right about 296.66, and this might be the gap fill reversal if we come back in here on IWM. On VIX, it was down 2.60%, even though the market didn't really go anywhere. So volatility is really low, which is good for the bulls, but also scary that, why this thing is so low. If this thing pops back up, we can easily see a push back here in the stock market. So VIX down to 14, I mean, it's really low. We haven't seen VIX down here since, I mean, right here, you can see December 2025. It was right here. And then we had a massive move to the upside, right? So this is going to be something to watch right here on VIX. If this thing holds, 14, maybe we get a break over this 5-day moving average over 15. That should take VIX up to like 16 bucks. But even if it gets up to 16, I don't think that's going to be anything but just a buy that dip opportunity, unless we see some significant selling in the market, which we have no clue that it's going to happen anytime soon. We haven't seen any big selling last couple of days. Market was just healthy, consolidating, and then we had that breakout to the upside, and looks like S&P 500 wants to run higher. But again, things are getting a little bit frothy, especially when you look at VIX, which is down to 14 bucks. So keep an eye on this if you're gonna trade day trade next week. Any news, anything special comes out. No big earnings coming out until I think end of the month, and then beginning of next month with Broadcom, right? So these are going to be some big earnings that are coming up, but a lot of the earnings are behind, and there are no, big catalyst for the week. No data coming out, nothing. CPI was in line, so everything looks good. Pullbacks are welcome, like I said, but I don't think we're just gonna crash and burn and go down to zero. We can get some sort of a mini pullback, but don't expect anything big out of the stock market next week.